okay, when it's time, when it's time. Okay, so, wasn't that a great presentation by Dr. Okay, so I've been practicing for 40 years. So I graduated from elementary school in 1980. So that's a really long time. And every 10 years I have to reinvent myself. I've got to do something to keep it fresh and exciting because people aren't just people. And they're full of pain and suffering and ageism and who knows what, okay? So back in 2011, 10 years ago, I created something called Qi Dance, Rhythm, and Breathe. So Qigong is the foundation of traditional Chinese medicine. Yeah. Qi being the electromagnetic energy that flows through the body like blood flows through the veins, and Gong means mastery of. So Qigong is mastering your energy flow. Now, let's suppose you were in New York City or a big department store, and you go to pull the door, that door is heavy. You can't just pull it open. So in New York, you have to sink your chi, grab the door, and as you stand up, rotate your shoulders. That's how you have to open that door to that department store in New York. And let's say you go to your grandmother's house, and she's like, oh, get that off the shelf for me. So you know you have to literally bend down, grab the suitcase, and stand up with your legs. You can't just pull up with your back. But it's funny that 50% of people in this country have chronic back pain, which means they don't know how to lift or how to bend. So there's a lot of imbalance and lack of coordination in movement. Now, the foundation of Chinese medicine is based on the circulation of qi and blood. Now, your heart has 4 chambers. What makes the heart pump the blood? Medical doctor, nurse in the crowd? No MDs here, no nurses? So I'm going to tell you, it's not your heart, it's your diaphragm. The diaphragm is the muscle that pushes the air out of the lungs, which then allows the blood to go into the lungs to get oxygen. That's what pushes your blood through the heart. Now, what would cause you to hold your breath? So when we hear something shocking, we hold our breath. Now, let's say the neighbor dog is barking all night long. So the next morning when you see the neighbor, how do you look? So we hunch our shoulders. And if we're angry and we're a guy, you push the chest out. If you're angry and you're a girl, you just compress your chest. So there is a physiological reaction to your emotional state. Now, if that happens once a day, once a week, not a problem. But if you do that 9 times a day, every day, for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you're going to create physiological patterns that restrict blood flow, blood oxygen, and nutrients, which means that the nerves get starved, and then you have minor aches and pains, which you are going to ignore until you cannot, and then you're going to seek candy, gum, chocolate, cigarette, beer, wine, sex, gambling, shopping. You're going to seek something outside of yourself to relieve you of that pain or that ache. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what does depression look like? So what would be the opposite of that? So if I took 10 depressed people and I made them dance, guess what would happen after 30 days? They would not be depressed anymore. Now, the state of California did a study and they found out that exercise was just as effective as drugs for anxiety and depression.
Yes.
State of California.
And Florida.
No, state of California. Florida.
No, in my gym.
Now, the director of health education and welfare at the time, Dr. David Satcher, did a white paper on mental illness when Clinton was president. So you know how long ago that was. And he's still alive, by the way. So David Satcher said, what makes people sick is this. Mental illness causes physical illness because the point of your mind is to keep your body well. So if you're physically ill, you're mentally ill. Now, when he said that, there was 500 people in the room. Half of them were on walkers and wheelchairs and carrying oxygen. He was at a gerontology conference that I snuck into. And he said, I don't think you heard me. If you are physically ill, you are mentally ill. And I'm the only one who stood up and clapped. So the issue for us, this community, is that we have to get mentally well through movement. Now, I am a psychiatrist in Tibetan Buddhist medicine. I'm a psychotherapist in traditional Chinese medicine. And I'm a shamanic healer in Taoist medicine. So you can be on drugs, you can be in a straitjacket, you can see demons flying through the air, and I've already done all of the shamanic journeys to take people out of their craziness and make them sane again. I can deal with crazy. What I can't deal with is stupid. So, what is the number one emotion that's driving this country today?
Fear.
Fear! Now, when you're a little kid and you're scared, what do you do in your pants?
You pee in your
You pee in your pants. And when you're an adult and you're scared, what do you do? Who said that? What do you do in your pants? You poo in your pants. So fear disconnects your urogenital system. Whoa. Now, that's why I love talking to doctors and nurses, because when I point that out, and they have to agree with me, all I want to do is throw drugs at it, or cut it, or burn it. And I'm like, you do sound like a crazy person. You know that, right? How are you going to treat fear with drugs? When all it is the quadratus lumborum muscle cutting off blood flow to the urogenital system. How crazy is that? Now, if someone is nervous and anxious, what do? Or their leg shakes. This muscle, the hamstring muscle, controls the bottom of the pelvis. So when the hamstring locks up, what happens? Your pelvis is locked from the bottom. And when the quadratus lumborum locks up, the pelvis is locked at the top. And then you walk like this. And how many people have you seen walking like this in a mall? Well, I notice it. You may not, but I notice it. So I can watch someone walk and tell them what's going on with them. I can listen to someone on the phone and tell them what's going on with them. Now, we already said that the diaphragm pushes the air out of the lungs. Now, when I talk to you like this, you know, I know there's something wrong with my speech pattern because it's stuck in my throat. Or I can talk to my throat, you know that. Or I can talk to my chest. Or I can talk like a normal person by using my diaphragm. So I can push the air anywhere that I want. And when I listen to you on the phone, I can tell where your airflow is blocked. I don't even have to see you. Now, how can you get your voice to change? By teaching you breathing exercises, which are boring, which you are not going to do on a regular basis. But if I play music, and it's fun and it's silly, you just might do it. You just might do that, okay? So, I need a, tech person. Okay. Can everybody hear me without the mic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it a tense person?
I said I need a tech person. Do I need a mic? Do I need a mic? I'm asking you. Do I need a mic?
No, I can tell you you don't need a mic.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. So I want everybody to stand up.
Is it Cuban fancy? Side to side, side to side.
Shake your hands, move your cheek, shake your hands, show me what you're working with. Shake your hands, move your cheek, shake your hands, show me what you're working with. From the sky, side to side, cheek go on side to side. Now drum the sky, side to side, cheek go on side to side. Now drum the earth, side to side, cheek go on side to side. Now drum the earth, side to side. Cheek go on side to side. Now shake them to the side, side to side. Cheek go on side to side. Now shake them to the side, side to side. Cheek go on side to side. Now shake them up, move your cheek. Shake them up, show me what you're working with. Shake them up, move your cheek. Shake them up, show me what you're working with. Right kidney, left kidney, right liver, left spleen, heart, lung. Right kidney, left kidney, right liver, left spleen, heart, lung. Right kidney, left kidney, right liver, left spleen, heart, lung. Right hand J, left hand G, right hand shin, left hand G, right hand J, left hand G, right hand shin, left hand G, 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 shin, G, 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 shin, G, 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 shin, G, 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 shin, G, heart, lung, liver, spleen, right kidney, left kidney, G, G, heart, lung, liver, spleen, right kidney, left kidney, G, G, heart, lung, liver, spleen, right kidney, left kidney, G, G, heart, lung, liver, spleen, right kidney, left kidney, G, G, heart, lung, liver, spleen, right kidney, left kidney, G, G, heart, lung, liver, spleen, right kidney, left kidney, G, G, heart, lung, lung, liver, spleen. liver, spleen, liver. Right kidney, left kidney, right kidney, left kidney. Ching, 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 ching. Heart, heart, lung. Heart, heart, lung. Liver, spleen, liver. Liver, spleen, liver. Right kidney, left kidney, right kidney, left kidney. Ching, 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 ching. Heart, lung, liver, spleen, kidney, ching, kidney, 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 ching. Blue Dragon, ching,
You just went to Qigong school, so you can learn to heal in school. Don't sit down. You got 3 more dances to do. After all this food and you stuffed, you can work some of that off. Okay. Now, who knows what Jing is? Jing is below the belly button. The Jing is called the essence. I call it the hormones. But it is 2 medical systems. It's the digestive system and the reproductive system, because the hormones are made there from what you eat. So you eat crappy food, you get crappy hormones. Not cool. Now, Qi is oxygenated blood. Now, how many people can tell me whether the heart can deliver blood that doesn't go through the lungs? It cannot. Which means that the lung is not a separate organ. No. The lung and the heart is one organ. It's not separate. Because if that viral infection gets into your lungs, where does it go? Into your heart, and then you die. Now, just for information purposes, you have an immune system in your nasal passages. And all viruses go through your nose. You have an immune system that fights it off. If it doesn't, it drops into your throat. You have a separate set of immune structures, including your tonsils, to fight off the infection in the throat. If that doesn't work, then it goes into your trachea. And then there's a third set of immune structures that will fight it off in the trachea. And if that doesn't work, then it goes into your lungs, and then it goes into your heart, and then you're done. Now, 98% of all the people on the planet fight off the viral infection because they have 3 barriers of protection. Now, what creates the immune system up here? Exercise. What creates the immune system here? What you eat. What creates the immune system here? What you eat. How many people have heard diet and exercise their whole lives? And how many people actually practice diet and exercise? 5%? 5%? Okay. So, I'm glad we're all here so I can speak freely. The issue is we're not self-disciplined. It's not lack of knowledge. It's not access. It's lack of self-discipline. Now, I was in the military. I flunked gym in the 9th grade. I couldn't dribble a basketball. I couldn't hit a baseball. Nobody wanted me on the dodgeball team. And yet, at 28, I was competing in 50-mile bike races. At age 28. That required training and discipline on my part. And that's what I want to share with you. I've dedicated my life to teaching Qigong as after to my acupuncture therapy. So I treat you 10, 15 times, you come once a month as follow-up, and at the end of the year, you're done. But then you want to keep coming because you like being around me. So I teach you strong. And then you can do that on your own. Okay? So medical Qigong is specifically to build your immune system, strengthen your joints, and heal the 5 internal organs. Okay? Now there's 2 more things that we need to know. One is the neuroendocrine system. And up until 1979, Western medicine thought the nervous system and the endocrine system were 2 separate systems. Just like they still think the heart and the lungs are 2 separate organs. Just like they found out in 2019 that interstitial fluid controls the fascia. And we all know that our bodies are 71% water, but nobody ever broke it down that the 71% is the interstitial fluid. And it wasn't until 2019 that they could invent a machine that could look at a living person and see how the interstitial fluid moved, that it found out that it could actually control its fascia, which supports Qigong as the best preventive medicine there is on the planet. And that's why you're here. Yay! This is why I got a text to put on the next song. Okay. Okay, now, what is the second emotion that runs in America?
Greed. Anger.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's not an emotion. Worry. Worry. I'm so worried. What's going to happen? When is life going to return to normal? This is the new normal.
When was it ever normal?
Exactly. Okay. So this is called the swing 2-step, and we're going to have fun with this. I wrote the song and the lyrics. So this is called that's why it's going to be tender. You're going to step, back the foot, feet up, drag the foot, bend your knees, and turn.
Who is your God? Who is your God? A wrathful old man with long white hair, or a loving godparent with kind loving care? How is your God? Vengeful, jealous, and punishing, or total acceptance, unconditional, forgiving, and loving? When is your God? Once a week, and building, keeping you apart from the other 6 days, not acting with compassionate heart? Where is your God? Surrounded by angels up in the sky, or inside your body filled with love, never to die? What is your God? For pleasure or greed, money and power? Please show me where they are created allowed. What is your God? Are you angry with God because you didn't know that all along you had choices to go high or go low, and your frustration, resentment, shame, blaming you are part of the program you allowed to fulfill. 7 deadly emotions are just thoughts that got stuck. I won't call you on your stuff, because you'll just pass the buck. What gets you to God is not situation or circumstance. It's your intention to be the holy and the perfect. Making your body, mind, and spirit all one. Who's your God? Meditation and internal exercise. Spirits aware from the root to the ground. The 7 seals connect the body to the mind, lifting you up to the higher ground. Higher ground. Higher. So how will you play out the rest of your life's movie? Avoiding pain in your mind while smoking a doobie, moving into groovy with anger and fear stuck in your body in ordinary human fashion? Or God's agent every day with unconditional loving loving godparent with kind, loving care. How is your God? Vengeful, jealous, and punishing, or total acceptance, unconditional, forgiving, and loving? When is your God? When is your God? Once a week in a building and keeping you apart from the other 6 days, not acting with compassion and compassion. Where is your God? Surrounded by angels up in the sky inside your body, filled with love and God. What is your God? Perverse pleasure or greed, money and power? Please show me where they have created power. Are you angry with God because you didn't know that all along you had choices to go high or go low? Anger, frustration, resentment, shame, blame, and guilt are part of the programming you allowed to be built. 7 deadly emotions are just thoughts that got stuck. I won't call you when you're stuck. You'll just pass the buck. What gets you to God, situation or circumstance, is more intention to do the holy when your mind bends. Exercise your body, mind, and spirit, all minds, all life, meditation, and internal exercise. Spirit's aware from the root to the ground, to the sound seals connect the body to the mind, lifting you up to higher ground. So how will you lay out the rest of your life? Your life's movement is made in your mind while smoking a doobie, with anger and fear stuck in your body in a wooden out human fashion. For God's agent in action every day with unconditional love and compassion.
And this next one is also 4.5 minutes. Okay, 4.5 minutes. This is called Pinky's Love. Hands in the air. Hands in the air. Hands in the air. Do the kidney gloves. Hands in the air. Hands in the air. Hands in the air. Do the kidney gloves. Pinky tree up. Pinky tree up. Pinky tree up. Hey, whoa. Do the kidney gloves. Pinky tree up. Pinky tree up.